And then we came onto the new core. So this one is the HQ core, which is EMP Defense Vault. So they describe this as similar to the point beam, that it does damage to one target, whereas this does damage but also disables. So I can't imagine anyone using defense beam when we got this. If this does the same damage as defense beam, then this is just basically just eradicated this, which I'm not fond of. You know, I would rather this do 0 damage but stuns for a bit longer. But then I got to thinking about this, and there's one big problem with this, is that a lot of players cup Lagoon, and a lot of players are absolute a-holes and put like Mind Wipe in an outpost. Not because he's good, because they stop people from leveling. And I don't get that at all. I get it's trolling, a bit of a joke, but you don't get any feedback from that. In an event, you don't know how many people beat your base. You don't know how they beat it, you don't know how many, you have no idea. So it doesn't mean anything to you, people beating your base with a cup Lagoon. You're just stopping other players from progressing as fast. And it's a bit sour, I think, really. You know, it's not really nice. So people put Mind Wiping outposts, you know, and they put like, they activate the Combiner outposts, and they put Spider Mines around the HQs to try and stop cup Lagooning. Let's be honest, if we wanted to help each other, we'd be putting the HQs at the front. Let's be honest. But be careful if you're going to do that you're not in a war. Just keep that in mind. But, you know, so now all they're going to do is equip these as well. You know, if it does damage, only stuns 3 seconds, but that's still quite a bit for Cup, really. You know, when he's in his shield and stuff like that, it stops his damage a lot. If you take away damage and increase this stun, then it's making it even worse for Cup Lagooning. But if they keep it with damage and stun, then it's going to pretty much make point beam irrelevant. So, my discussion is not to release this core. I'm not a fan of it at all. I think they should buff current cores. I don't think the HQ defense core needs a buff. I would personally say that the HQ core should negate all ability damage, 100% of it. I think it negates a big chunk of it, not 100%. But yeah, and so you got to beat it with DPS. But the point beam and the flame omniflamer needs upgrading maybe. But I'm not a big fan of this EMP defense bolt. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll wait and see for that. And the next one, we kind of knew it was coming. I've been campaigning for this for so long. Is ray blockers. Now, I'm not sure where I sort of stand on this. So, prevents nearby enemies from being healed. Area effect increases by X amount, so it will increase over. So it'll be an area one. Does not affect power core provided protection. So just put in the chat. So what would you rather have? So from the sound of this, it sounds like it stops healers. But things like Micronus, Rejuvenate, Combats, all these that increase healing will still work. But they just stop healers. So if you were a non-healer team with loads of healing in it, so you've got Singe and Stripes and Micronus and Trax, the healing will still work as it is. But, or would you rather have all healing reduced? So say all healing reduced by 40%. Say. What would you rather have? Healers blocked and everything else work? Or all healing reduced rather than blocked? Let me know in the chat. But yeah, I'm on the fence with this one. I don't know which one I prefer. Healers negated or all healing reduced. So I'm yet to give feedback on this, so we'll have to wait and see. But let me know in the chat what you think. And the last one is fireproof dome. And I was a bit like, I don't get this, and a bit confused. So you got fireproof dome, but then we've also got acid, which is linked to fire for the cons. So are they going to do an acid proof dome for the cons? What happens if you attack with your ult squad and you have masking? And I don't know, I've got a few questions about this. But prevents nearby buildings from fire damage. So 14%. And as you upgrade it, obviously that will increase. But I don't think there's much fire damage in the game, really, is there, really? I don't think so. Area effect increased by X amount, which is double what the anti-healing was. And the build bot is immune to fire damage. So, the thing I don't like about this is, so we've got these new cores. So the anti-healing core, I can imagine that being used. Are you going to unequip the anti-stun core, which is Sea Spray and Bumblebee Heavy, which are amazing bots, you know, bots like that, Laser Optimus. Are you going to equip that, or equip an anti-hack core, which is obviously blades and, you know, Perceptor and bots like that, for this? Are you going to unequip the FFD for this? No, you're not. And I understand what they're saying. So in the stream they said the reason they're doing these is to increase choices, so you have a choice how to defend your base. But how you will choose to defend your base will depend on the meta and bots available. So the reason that the FFD is so, you know, prominent in the game is because Trax is so good. If Trax was not as good, people would not use FFD. So we use defenses depending on what bots people are attacking with. Yeah? So the FFD is going to stay. Blades, massively powerful. Sea Spray, Bumpy. So people are going to use anti-EMP cores, Lightning Rod cores. They are going to use the cores. They are going to use anti-hack cores. They are going to use them cores. But that's why we don't see the healing cores as much. Because the only one that really want to start with the healing cores is Warpath, really. And I don't think it's a guarantee win. It's a good bot, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't say it's a problem. I wouldn't say Warpath needs a counter. Warpath has his use. But it's quite expensive to use at the start. And, you know, you take out a few defenses out, a couple of build bots. Yeah, good value. But then you start with less ability points. So I understand there's a playoff. And I like that. I like an attack where you're like, well, I can do this. But it's going to cause an issue where this is a counter side to it. I know you can help hit 3-point buildings with Warpath and all that, but I don't think Warpath attacks are massively overpowered. You know, where, you know, I think without the build bots, blades would be and things like that. So I'm happy with I'm happy with the healing build bots being less relevant in the game. I understand that, but there's no way anyone is going to equip the fireproof dome the way it is. There's not enough fire in the game. So as soon as you think fire, you're talking Rust Dust, you're talking Sunstreaker. I'm sure you can list a few more fire bots in the chat. But the point I'm making is there's no real bots that are amazing gold fire. But most of these are not in the meta already because it's fireproof and things like that. It sounds to me like they're just trying to sort of combat Top Shot in a way and maybe nullify him, Top Shot and Fireline. But it's not the way to go about it. It's really not. And I don't know about this. This fireproof dome I think needs scrapping and or changing or something. Not fire damage. I don't know. It does need changing though, because there's not enough fire damage in the meta to warrant it. You know, you look at a problem and you go, "This is a problem. We need to address it. Let's do this." But again, you sort of when they brought out the anti-hack bots to reduce Blade's effectiveness, they nullified Perceptor. They really did, and they're sort of going to do the same again with this to nullify Top Shot. They're really going to nullify some average bots that do fire damage. So I'm not too keen on this personally, but that'll be my feedback. But let me know what you think in the chat. Then we went on to the prime cores. We'll come back to the chat in a minute and go through it, but these are the prime cores. So this is the Alchemist Prime. So this is all of your attacks heal you for 5.5% of the damage done. So you're probably looking at 3 times the value of what a self-repair gives you. That is crazy. That is crazy. If that goes up by the 0.5 per level and it's 20 levels, wow. Wow. You're talking maybe 3 or 4 times, you know, that's going to heal very, very quickly. So basically, if you don't one-shot this defense, it's going to heal. Imagine that on an MDS. That's where mine's going. That will go on an MDS. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But again, I'm looking forward to that, because it's sort of saying to listen, you're not going over with Sea Spray a couple of times. No, no, no. You go over Sea Spray, it's going to go whoop, back to full health again. You've got to go one shot, or combo, one shot. And I do like that. I do like that. I'm loving this Alchemist Prime core. If it does increase by that much, it pretty much goes back to full health again like that. You've got to one shot it. Again, it's bringing a bit of strategy into the game. Love that. Megatronus. Nearby foes deal 50% of your damage every second. I'm hoping this is huge. My feedback will be this needs to be a big area. So you really need to take it out. And it's going to do damage over time. And it's going to keep eating at all your team, you know, while you get closer. If it's just in a small area, then it's not going to do much. 52% of your damage every second. then I suppose it depends what you put it on, but there's certain defenses you're not going to take it off. But, you know, it's going to be in a big area. It does. But got potential. My Cronus, so I said this is, look, restores 5.5% health to all nearby allies every 5 seconds. They said this is going to be like the healing cores, but a lot bigger. Now, I said the healing cores need buffing, but I am more than happy just to have my Cronus in instead. Super pleased about this. But again, this is going to restore like 10% health, same as the Alchemist Prime Core. So maybe you might have to use Wheeljack to get through this quicker, because if not, you get pounded at this area for ages trying to get through. But again, maybe you just take out that defense. Just take the defense out somehow and stop it. You'll have your choice. Next one, Liège Maximal, so nearby bots are hacked. So again, I would like this in an area. So I'd like this and put an area around it, a visual area of Liège. Maybe with the Liège sign, that'd be pretty cool. And my Cronus sign, like you sort of see when, you know, a bot's got my Cronus attached. And if you go in that area, your bot will be hacked. The next one that walks in, he will be hacked. The next one, and they'll keep getting hacked for 5.5 seconds, but then they can't get hacked again. Obviously, once they're hacked once, that's it. But maybe 12 seconds of being hacked. That's crazy. You know, you've got to take that out. And I like this where, like the MDS, you look and go, I have got to take that out. I need to take that out. My issue is how that'll work in lower HQs, though. That's all I'm worried about is Prime Cores, but that's something we need to talk about in playtest. But super excited. I hope they are really powerful like they are on offense. And this one, this is actually my most favourite. I like things where there's a bit of thought put into it and a bit innovative. So Alchemist, Megatronus, Micronus, Liège, quite easy really. We knew what they were sort of going to do. But when I came to Amalgamus, I was like, it's going to be interesting, you know. I wonder what they're going to do with this. So they've put, it's going to increase damage against airborne targets. I love that. Does that mean we're going to get more, you know, anti-air in the game maybe in some way? That's a big question. But against airborne targets, the only problem with this is that at first I thought, oh, I'll put it on a turret. Yeah, and they can just slice them out of the air. But you can't equip a prime core and the anti-air core. So the turret won't hit them in the air. So that's a bit of a worry. But still a really good idea. But the big one for me is, and increased damage against transformed bots. So things like Cheetor and and Twin Twist, bots like that, bots that transform, even Laser Optimus, this will make them do a lot more damage against them. So before you want to use a bot's ability, you've got to think where this Amalgamus Prime Core is. Super pumped. This is the one big thing from the stream I was like, wow. Super pumped for these. I can't believe. I'm really looking forward to these Prime Cores.